feedback by our public. Our public means here particularly a segmentation. Already we have discussed customers, stakeholders, employees, opinion leaders. These are the main public for that particular organization or office or unit or a public sector unit or bank, whatever it is. Every let's we go to the another unit. In this unit, we will discuss about the some important models related to the public relations. There is a number of models. Models means some theoretical aspects of a persons related to the public relations. Among them, a few are James, Green, and Hunt. Though they were given some models how to be with the public information model, two-way asymmetric model, two-way symmetric public relations model, and some applications of models. And another one is a publicity model. Already we have discussed in the earlier classes what is the difference between the publicity and public. This is also called public agency. In general, we call it as a public agency model. James and Hunt, these two were given 4 models. These were from the USA. They were given 4 models in the public relations sector. James is a noted public relations theorist. He has over 20 years of experience in the field of public relations and has published 250 articles, books, chapters, papers, and reports, as well as received several awards and honors from the Public Relations Society of America and the Institute for Public Relations Research. Another one is Hunt. Todd P. Hunt, along with James Green, wrote landmark books in public relations, including Managing Public Relations and the Techniques of Public Relations. These both were developed 4 models of public relations practice, went to become the most talked about theory in the discipline of public relations. Let's first discuss about the press agentry. Other title for this model is a publicity model. What will be happens in this model? Press agentry means the publicity produced by a press agent's work or skill, especially in making a person or thing seem more desirable, admirable, or successful. Initially, it is a one-way communication, often in an exaggerated from where the receiver has no input. Will you go with examples? For example, radio, while we are listening radio talk, that is a one-way communication process. Television, sometimes there is a program related to the interaction with the viewers, whereas comes to the radio also interaction with the viewer, listeners is one kind of a program which is also broadcast or broadcasted in the television or radio, but there is no two-way communication process. Whereas this is applied to the newspaper also. In the newspaper only we will read the newspaper. we read newspaper daily, and there is a no feedback mechanism. There is a mechanism, but that is a letters to editor or inbox, some various titles with the various newspapers. But that will take much time. Instead of a live means instant feedback at other than the public relations department is established in the organization. Press agency means newspapers, television, and radio, like kind of. But new media, nowadays we have a new media, digital media, social media, whatever it is the name we call it is. But the new media, it is a possible to communicate instantly with, means yeah, interactivity is possible with this new media. Whereas earlier there is a no new media section. So initially it is a one-way communication often in and expedited from where the receiver has no input. Sometimes called the P.T. Barnum model. It almost pure a propaganda. What is the difference in the propaganda and publicity? Both already we have discussed in the semester in the first chapter. Publicity, there is a positive publicity and negative publicity. Propaganda means almost negative kind of a publicity, negative kind of information disseminating in the society. The press agency model is a one-way communication that is often more hype than fact. In this model, the truth is not a priority. This is the this model's aim. It is a one-way communication through press. Press means the earlier press is a newspaper printing, and somewhat a little later in 1920s and 1950s there is a radio, and there was a television introduced. So all those are included, emerged in the press. It is a one-way communication that is often more hype than fact. So this is the problem. Dear students, if you have any doubts, you please SMS or chat in the chat room. I will discuss with you about your doubts. This is a more interactive session. You may advise to go with, you just ask me if you have any doubts. What is the role in the press agency model? Let's discuss about uh, the role of a press agency. Press agency plays a major role in record companies, tourist attractions, motion picture studios, television, concert, promotions, and business enterprises aided by media personalities. Yeah, considerable press agentry goes into political campaigns and national political party conventions to build name recognition and attract large audience. Successful press agents gave us the legends of Davy and Huck. They promotes Indianapolis 50,000, 5,500 Memorial Day auto race into a national event. Made Miami Beach. Here we have discussing of one example. And another one person, Portro, internationally known research in the Florida, Disney World. It's a vacation destination even before opening day. Made the Batman Returns. This is a part of a press agentry model. Press agents work more to attract public notices than to build public understanding. So what they are understanding is no matter here for the press agents. Publicity is the major strategy of press agents. They base their approach on the agenda setting theory we have discussed in the semester one. What is agenda setting theory says? This theory says that the amount of a mass media coverage subsequently determines the relative approaches, relative importance of topics and people on the public agenda. That is public. That is the theory says the public agenda setting theory. In the candid words of a veteran press agent, what he says, one quotation is here. We need to know about this quotation also. We stoop, quote started, we stoop to anything. We stoop to anything, but our stuff gets printed, unquote. Let's discuss about the brief history about this press agentry model. The profession of public relations has generally been pursued to have originated in the United States with the activities of a press agency, whereas in the Indian context there is no particular this kind of publications practice earlier than some 50 years ago. Just we have a history of 50 to 60 years only. But in the 19th century, some 1900 years, 19th century and 20th century only, where there is a Berman. His name is Berman from the United States. They lead the public relations and they develop models. He developed the models. Here we need to know one question will be raised here. How a public relations uses press agency in the organization activities? The formal practice of what today is called public relations is less than 100 years old. In Indian context, it is just 50 years old. During it, 50 or 70 years old, relatively brief history, public relations have been defined in many widely differing ways. Not surprisingly, the earliest definition emphasized the roles of press agency and publicity, since these were major elements from which modern public relations grow. Later, public relations was recognized and employed by more organizations. Definitions began to include the need for research prior to initiating actions. careful planning, and thorough evaluation or measurement of results. Generally, all these words we listen in the advertising, where here in the publications also started from 100 years ago or the world in the 19th century and the 20th, 19th century ending, the 20th century began. And here in Indian context, it is some 50 years old only. There are full-time agents, and most publication practitioners engage in a little press agency at some time or another to achieve public awareness objectives through publicity. Generally, in a publications officer recruitment, they ask MA journalism and publications qualification, MA or PG diploma or PG or UG related to the publications of journalism, because public relation practitioner should engage with the press. Another model is public information model. In this model, publication practices in government, education institutions, some corporations, and many non-profit organizations. Here, corporation means nowadays we see bank or public sector units, BHEL, ECIL, BEL, and RTC, Telangana State Regional Transport Corporation, TGSRTC, APSRTC corporations. These are the government and educational related institutions. Even in universities also, many universities are following the publications branch. The public information, the information distributed out to the public is one way, and it is used by public relations practitioners in the government sector or education sector, institutions or corporations and non-profit organizations. Public relations firms also is there, especially that is one organization. They coordinate with the media and the customers, means companies. Instead of if there is a particular branch with any company or any office, any unit, they engage, they use contract to the public relations firm. Public relations firms using this model do very little research about their target audience. Behind testing the clarity of their advertisements and value accuracy above all else when communicating with the public. In fact, for example, here we will discuss about the there is one example we have given in the textbook, the Truth Campaign. This is the largest national non-profit youth-focused anti-tobacco campaign in history. This advertisement controversy is only one way in which the campaign target kids and teenagers. to inform them about the harmful effects of smoking cigarettes. There is a one peer counselor, IDE, is the first peer counselors in the early 19th century. He pursued leaders to change their attitude. Lee issued a declaration of principles which signaled the end of public be demand attitude of a business and beginning of public be informed era. So what is his intention is we must give the information to the all public. Means a particular section are related to the company or related to that office, whatever it is. So this example is a public information model. The truth TRUTH campaign put out is an ad in order to inform public of one chemical in a particular way that is used by the tobacco companies to prepare the cigarettes, to product the cigarettes. It is a one-way information in which the practitioners value accuracy, but decide what method would generate the best results with their target audience. Let's go with discuss about the two-way asymmetric model. This model is prepared called by, already we have discussed the famous publications practice theorist Hunt and Green. Hunt and Green call it is a scientific persuasion. This model is a scientific persuasion, and it remains the stock in trade of advertisers every day. Let's talk about the important features of this model. It is used by an organization primarily interested in having its public come around to its way of thinking rather changing the organization, its policies or its views. No need to change any policy, but we have to give some thinking knowledge of that particular people. That is why we call it as a scientific persuasion. It employs social science methods to develop more persuasive communication. It is generally focuses on achieving a short-term attitude change. Here is a behavioral situation. It incorporates lots of feedback from target audience and public. It relies on honest and open two-way communication and mutual give and take rather than one-way persuasion. It focuses on mutual respect and efforts to achieve mutual understanding. It emphasizes negotiation and willingness to adapt and make compromises. It requires organizations engaging in public relations to be willing to make significant adjustments in their means of operation. It seems to be used more by non-profit organizations, government agencies, and heavily regulated business such as public utilities than by competitive profit-driven companies. There is a difference between two-way communication asymmetric and one-way symmetric and asymmetric communication model. We will here need to know the differences between the public agentry model, public information model, two-way asymmetric and two-way symmetric models. First, let's discuss about the purpose of each model. In the press agentry, the purpose is propaganda. In the public information model, the purpose is information dissemination. In the two-way asymmetric model, the purpose is scientific persuasion. In the two-way symmetric model, the purpose is mutual understanding. Now coming to discuss about the nature of communication. In the press agentry model, that is a one-way and completely truth not essential. Maybe false, maybe propaganda here. In the communication, in the public relations model, the nature of communication is one-way, truth important here. Whereas coming to the two-way symmetric, here what happens, the nature of communication is a two-way, but imbalanced in favor of sender. Compared with the two-way symmetric, the nature of communication is two-way and balanced. Now coming to discuss about the communication model and the differences between these four models. In the public agentry model, that is the source to receiver. In the means here there is no feedback mechanism, so that is why just source and it reaches to the receiver. Means end audience. Whereas in the public information model also, the communication process is between the source and receiver, and it is also one-way communication from source to receiver. Means public relations officer who says something, otherwise a public relations officer agent who says something to the public. Only he receives the message, but don't give the feedback. Whereas coming to the two-way asymmetric model, the communication process is between the source, receiver, and also feedback. Feedback means again the source person. Source person means, for example, a public relations officer, he receives the feedback. The message or information, whatever it is, it reaches to the public, means receiver, he gives some feedback. He gives some feedback. It reaches to the source, means the public relations officer. Now we will discuss about two-way symmetric model. What will be happens in the communication process? Two-way symmetric model, that is a group, and it reaches to the group mutually, and they understand. Means we will conduct a scientific. We need to conduct some persuasion based on surveys, and feedback mechanism is required here. Let me talk about the nature of research in these four models. In the press agency model, there is no very little research. In the public information model, there is also a little research, and in the press agency, there is no reliability. But whereas in the public information model, somewhat reliability is there. Coming to the two-way asymmetric model, the nature of research is a formative evaluation of attitudes. Now coming to talk about two-way symmetric model. The nature of research here is formative evaluation of understanding. Two-way asymmetric part of it happens only we will give understanding of it. But in the two-way symmetric, we will get the results, the evaluation results, whether it is understood or not. Clearly, it is fine in the two-way symmetric public relations model. So these four models we know now where we have to practice it. Which section is suitable for which model is suitable in which section or which area, which context. In the sports, in the theater, in the promotion of a product, there is press agency model or publicity model is suitable. Now coming to government agencies, non-profit agencies, some business agencies, business offices, business companies, business units. There is public information model is suitable. Where what happens? The public who know their information. Another model we have two-way asymmetric model. Where will we practice this model? This model is uses when competitive business agencies, because they need to show which, for example, a product, a pen, so they need to show based on their research evaluation and attitude test. So they give some facts to the public compared with competitive business organizations, competitive with other business companies, other agencies. Let's talk about two-way symmetric model, where it is practiced. This is a regulated line. We can, wherever the untruth, false, misinformation, misleading, there is required two-way symmetric model. So it regulates it. It regulates that competition. It regulates the businesses and agencies based on the formative evaluation of understanding. Right? Dear students, if you have any doubts, you may chat in the chat room. Let you back. I will be back with you with the clarifications. Let's talk about some application of models of these public relations. With the tools available to public relations practitioners today, especially social media platforms, connecting with the stakeholders is possible in the news, and evolving ways. But listening, reacting, and responding takes skill, commitment, and time, and must become a learned habit and standard of a practice. It is not enough to merely have a Facebook page and X account. Organizations must use them interactively, and symbiotically. Then only we will get the good results. Some will criticize the model as idealistic and impractical. There is a no, that is a clear, it does need attention and commitment regarding resources. Sometimes what happens, stakeholders need conflict. It is also not a practical model for every organization. Example, policing and some government departments may not necessarily be open to receiving and involving input from publics. But for many organizations, two-way symmetrical public relations in the public's best interest is a goal worth striving for. So many organizations, they follow two-way symmetrical public relations model. It is a step towards mutual understanding. It is difficult to assess how successfully an organization is engaging the model without a full assessment of its entire PR strategy and execution. But there are examples of tactics that at least appear to flow out of the model. We will discuss one model, Nova Scotia Power, and its Tomorrow's Power campaign. Here, Nova Scotia Power answers customer question on its website and in information campaign. Most are practical and serious, but the campaign has allowed Nova Scotia Power to show its playful side. It even took a question from Taylor of Halifax. Quotation: if zombies took over Earth, how long could you guys keep supplying power to survivors? Would windmills just keep turning? Unquote. But here, seriously, we have to think in the land of the still living, two-way symmetric public relations may be lofty, but it is not unattainable. It is also more ethical than any other model we currently have. In this case, trained public relations professionals can strategize and advocate proper implementation of strategies. If this is achieved, two-way symmetrical communication that focuses on mutual respect and understanding, emphasize negotiation and willingness to adapt and compromise and engage with and also accommodate public is indeed ideal, achievable. There is a number of examples on these models, which is and compared with campaigns by many organizations. So each model is suitable in a particular context. Already we have discussed in some theater, sports, we require to use publicity model. Dear students, so far in this chapter we have discussed about the public relations, the management of strategic communication between an organization and its public. It is a field that is constantly evolving, and in the beginning, the public relations was referred to as the profession of image making and advocacy only. Public information model is used to in order to inform the public without an emphasis on pressing for promotion and publicity. And another model is a two-way symmetric model. Practitioners use research to influence customers and to help fashion sell. And another one is a two-way symmetric model. Earlier asymmetric model. Now it is a two-way symmetric model. In this model, casts public relations in the role of mediator versus pursuer. Under that model, here professionals listen to the concern of both clients and key public, help them adapt to one another. Dear students, so far we have discussed the fourth chapter, the main public relations models. If you have any doubts, otherwise we go to the another section, another unit, that is we will discuss more models, particularly 4 stages of research, planning, communication strategy, and evaluation model. This is called 4 stages of a public relations model. Public relations and all other communication channels also. This model is applicable to the not only public relations, in the communication, in the journalism, in social sciences. It is a useful model. Let's talk about RPCE model. In the RPCE model, there is a 4 steps. First step is research process. Unit number, we are talking about the unit number 5. That is 4 stages of RPCE model. In the first step, that is a research process. In general, we call it is a fact finding. Next step is planning and promoting. Promoting for what? Program for implementation. Third step is communication strategy and implementation. Here what will be included? Media strategy also included. The fourth step is evaluation research process. What will be the output of the fourth step? The results and the impact will be output here in this four steps. There is also another model also that is called the ROPS model, ROPGS model. We will discuss one by one in this chapter. Who developed this model? There is a Scott Cutcliffe and Alan Center and Glenn Groom. These were related to the publication practice. These theorists developed this RPCE model. Otherwise, we call it as a four steps model. In the 1994, they defined the first step is defining public relations process. Usually, in terms of a situational analysis, or what public relations professionals call, in general, they call it is a SWOT analysis. You know what is SWOT? S means strengths, W means weakness, O means opportunities, T means threats. According to Cutcliffe and Broom, this should answer the question, what is happening now? The next step is in the public relations process is planning and programming, where the main focus is strategy. In this step should answer the question, what should we do, say, and why. The first one is what is in the first step, what is happening now. In the second step, what should we do, say, why. Let's go with the third step. The third step in the public relations process is taking action and communicating. Here, what will we know? Implementation. This step should answer the question, how and when do we do and say it. First step is what is happening now. Second step is what should we do and say and why. In the third step, how and when do we do and say it. At what time we have to say, at what context we have to say. So this is will known in the third step. Let's focus on the fourth step. Fourth step public relations process is evaluating the program. Means some action we are taking. So the results also we need. We are making a final assessment. In this step, which question will raise? How did we do? Already we have done in the 3 steps, but in the 4th step, how we did it? Whether if there is a no assessment, what will be happening? Whether that is a successful or not, maybe any background is there or feedback is there, we could not know. In case we don't go with the 4th step. Here in the 4th step, a question raises, how did we do? This is where public relations professionals make a final analysis of the success of their campaigns. Another model is there in the in this unit. First, we will go with the RPCE model. Okay. What is the first step in the RPCE model? Already we have discussed research process or fact finding is the first step in this model. There are various kinds of problems for which PR solutions are increasingly sought. The problem could be growing in an organization. For example, maybe smoking at a workplace, political interference in the union activity, maybe a critical media competition, activities of special interest in the groups. These are some problems. When defining a problem, it is easy to rely on gut feeling or interference. But here we need to think this rarely helps in the long run. Problem definition must begin with listening to the views of concern is a powerful tool. When it does not exist or is a delayed or feasible, the situation, doubt and concern in the communicator and the frustration in the audience. These are the some important elements in the first step. In fact, research is one method of structuring listening into the communication process. Research is a means to an end. Formative research helps diagnose the problem. Research can be both informal, exploratory, and formal. Here we need to know informal research techniques in the publications. Informal methods, according to various many analysts, still dominate public relations research despite the availability of highly developed social science methods. Let's talk about some informal methods. Those are through personal contact, through gatekeepers, through mail analysis, through field reports, through focus groups, through content analysis. These are some important informal research techniques. Coming to the personal contact, what we to do here, we know the size of people, means the public we know of that company, not exactly the true meaning of a public in a general context. Here is a public means particular persons who are related to the particular that company. So here what happens, we can gather information by talking to a cross section of the target audience, because we could not talk each and every of the public, but here also we take some sample from the population, means here the target audience, and we talk with them. We will get some information, some data. So further step we have to evaluate. Another technique is through gatekeepers. This is it involves identifying leaders, opinion makers, and experts. Instead of each and every public of that particular organization, they choose some important persons, experts. There could be editors, reporters, teachers, restaurant waiters, union leaders, sometimes a person who from the bar, who is from the pawn shop, who is from a small uh, kirana shop. These are the gatekeepers. whether our product is good or not. For example, we made I be a professional a public relations officer for the pencil company. So whether my product is good or not, if I want to know, no need to reach every student who bought this pen. Some selection of the sample. Sometimes we need to reach the teacher also. Generally, teacher is if it is a personal, he will buy it. But the target audience of a pencil product is a students of various sections, maybe up to 10th class, intermediate, or degree, whatever it is. Wherever the use of pencil is required, they buy it. So here, expert. Here we can choose teachers as gatekeepers. So if we talk with the teachers, we will know whether our product is a good or not. In-depth interviews with them often provide the researchers rare insights about the response of that desired public. In fact, during public opinion surveys in elections, gatekeepers tend to pass on almost accurate information due to their interaction with the public. There is another technique through mails. Nowadays, we have social media platforms and apps available. Even though mail or social media platforms or networks, whatever it is, we can use it, the new media or digital media, and we will get the information. Somewhat back to the 10 to 15 years ago, there is a mails or mail emails played a very much role before the social media emerged in the present context. So companies in the product line receive a lot of mail from their customers, even though nowadays many companies gives in their wrapper the email address to get the feedback. So more often than not, the email is not complimentary. Periodic analysis of letters can reveal areas of disfavor and lack of information. This would help identify areas of ill will or problem relationships. Another technique is field reports. Organizations generally have agents, field officers, and marketing officers. They send their periodical field reports. The Department of Field Publicity of Information and Broadcasting. Earlier, there is a separate department, but now there is no particular department. All these departments come under the CBC, Communication Bureau, under the Communication Bureau. The field officer submit their reports, which also have the informal feedback from the area where he or she visited. These reports provide a wealth information about the concern of the public. Public means the customers ultimately. Another technique is focus groups. Focus groups are identified keeping in view the aim of research. In this technique, the sample is subjected to deep problem, deep solving with a view not only to seek information about what is being said, but also why it is being said. Because this will be known when we conduct focus group research, focus group survey. One more technique is media content analysis. General PR activities who releases press releases and advertisements based on the press clips and published in the newspapers, broadcasted in the radio or television. The reports have long been used for content analysis. However, it indicates what is being printed and broadcast and not what is being read. And analysis of the media does indicate issues of public concern and agenda setting by methods. Dear students, we will started in this unit with step 1. There is a more 3 steps in this unit. Means there is a 4 stages of the RPCA model, and another model also we need to discuss about the ROPES model, ROPES model. In the next class, we will discuss all these models in detail. Thank you, dear students.